Hey there and welcome. Today, we're diving into the work of an author named Su Feng, and he argues that the modern world is facing this really profound spiritual crisis, basically a crisis of meaning. He believes a lot of us feel lost for a very specific reason, so let's jump right into his diagnosis.
I mean, it's a question that hits home for so many people, right? That feeling of being adrift, of just searching for something solid to hold on to in this kind of chaotic world. But according to Su Feng, this isn't just a you and me problem. He sees it as a collective condition. So let's really break down what he thinks is going on here.
So his core diagnosis really starts here. It's this idea that the very foundations of how we even understand our lives, well, they've become seriously unstable.
And that phrase right there really captures it. He's not just saying we're a little confused. No, he's arguing that the entire system of values we used to rely on, as individuals, as a society, is literally, as he puts it, teetering on the verge of collapse.
And this is the heart of the problem. He breaks it down into what he calls the 4 lacks. So first, there's no clear goal for our lives. Like, what are we all even working toward? Second, no clear principles for how to be a person. How should we act? Third, there's no common faith that really binds us together. And finally, no unified standard to measure what's good or true or valuable. It's like our collective compass is just broken.
Okay, so what happens to a person, or, hey, an entire culture, when that compass is gone? Let's move on and see how this actually builds into a really personal and often painful experience of distress.
The author starts asking these really powerful questions to show just how deep this confusion goes. I mean, think about it. If you don't have a destination in mind, how in the world do you choose which road to take? Suddenly, every single decision feels loaded with uncertainty.
And it goes even deeper than that. Without those fundamental principles to guide you, how do you even approach a problem? How do you decide what's right or wrong in just your day-to-day life? The very act of thinking and living starts to feel disorganized, and honestly, pretty stressful.
And this is where it all leads. Without that shared faith or some kind of standard for what actually matters, that sense of security and hope for the future just kind of evaporates. And what's left is this void, and it's filled with anxiety and a feeling of just aimlessness.
So here's the crucial point. What the author is describing is a state of deep, collective suffering. This isn't just some intellectual puzzle. It's a painful, emotional reality that comes directly from that crisis of values we were just talking about.
And to really capture just how severe this is, he gives it this incredibly haunting name, the 18 abysses of suffering. That name alone suggests it's not just one problem, right? It's more like a deep, multi-layered pit of distress that a lot of people feel trapped in.
But where does all this come from? Is it just a random bunch of problems that all happened at once? Well, Su Feng says no. He believes there is one single identifiable source for this whole crisis. So his logic is basically to take all these different symptoms, the lack of goals, the confusion, the anxiety, and trace them all back to one single root cause. He's looking for that one thing that, if it was lost, would explain everything else falling apart.
And here it is. This is his central thesis. According to Su Feng, the entire crisis boils down to one profound loss. We've become disconnected from the source of our spirit, the root of our life. In other words, we've lost that deep underlying foundation that used to give all our goals and our principles and our faith their meaning and their power.
So, if that's the diagnosis, what's the prescription? The final part of this explainer is going to look at the author's really urgent call for a new way forward. First off, it's really important to get the sense of urgency here. Su Feng stresses that this is not some minor issue we can just ignore. He sees it as an incredibly severe crisis that absolutely demands a conscious and intentional and a really profound response from every single one of us. So, the path forward he proposes, well, it isn't some simple 3-step fix. Not at all. It's a deep, personal journey. It requires a total, comprehensive reflection on our own lives. And then from that reflection, we have to deliberately choose a new path. And finally, we have to actually start living in a new way. It's basically a call for a complete personal transformation. And that's really where this leaves us. Su Feng offers his own direction, but his work ultimately just holds up a mirror. It forces us to confront this crisis of meaning in our own lives, and it asks a really direct question. In the end, it's not about what he thinks. It's about what you are going to do. Given this void, what will you choose as the source of your spirit, the root of your life?